There's something really special about Animal Well. It's a puzzle platformer where you're exploring this underground world that's full of secrets, strange creatures, and tricky puzzles, and the game never really tells you what to do. The atmosphere is really cool because it feels both mysterious and peaceful, and it makes you want to keep searching every corner for hidden surprises. The best part is how everything in the game connects in ways you don't expect. But at the same time, some puzzles can be really hard, and since the game doesn't give you hints, you might end up stuck. But if you love games that make you think and explore, it's an amazing experience. I recently played Astrobot, and it's such a charming and fun platformer where you play as Astrobot on a mission to rescue his crew who are scattered across different planets. It's a really joyful game, and it's full of creative level designs and clever gameplay mechanics. The platforming is super tight and responsive. It feels so good to run, jump, and hover around these colorful worlds. I loved collecting all the little Astrobots. They're hidden everywhere, and finding them is a big part of the fun. The game looks fantastic too. It's bright and cheerful, and it really makes great use of the PlayStation features. Honestly, it's hard to find anything I didn't like about this game. Maybe if I had to nitpick, I'd say it's a little on the short side, but it's so consistently enjoyable that it doesn't really matter. It's a perfect game for anyone who loves platformers or just wants a lighthearted and fun experience. Celeste is all about climbing a mountain, but it's way more than just that. It's about Madeline facing her inner demons, and the way they weave that into the gameplay is just brilliant. The platforming is so tight and responsive, you feel totally in control of Madeline as she climbs and dashes through these crazy levels. I loved exploring each area, finding hidden strawberries, and learning new movement tricks. Okay, some levels were really tough, I'm not gonna lie. There were times I almost rage quit, but that feeling when you finally beat a hard part is so incredibly satisfying. The music is absolutely fantastic too. It really sets the mood and makes those tough climbs feel even more epic. Honestly, I can't think of anything I didn't like, maybe just that I wanted even more of it because I was completely hooked from beginning to end. It's a game that stays with you even after you've finished it. Cuphead is this incredibly stylish run-and-gun game where you play as these two cartoon cups who made a deal with the devil and now have to fight a bunch of crazy bosses to repay their debt. The visuals are absolutely amazing. It looks like a 1930s cartoon brought to life. The animation is so smooth and the character designs are so creative. The gameplay is tough as nails. I'm not gonna lie, it's a very challenging game, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Each boss fight is like its own unique puzzle. You have to learn their attack patterns and figure out how to dodge them. I love the variety of weapons and abilities you can unlock. It can get frustrating at times, you'll die a lot, but that feeling when you finally beat a boss that's been giving you trouble is just so satisfying. Honestly, the only real downside is that it's a very difficult game, so it might not be for everyone. But if you're up for a challenge and you appreciate beautiful art and tight gameplay, then I highly recommend giving it a shot. Hollow Knight is this amazing Metroidvania game where you explore this huge interconnected world as a silent knight. It's got this beautiful hand-drawn art style that's both creepy and charming, and the world just feels so alive and mysterious. The combat is really fun too. It's challenging, but fair, and there are tons of different abilities and charms you can find to customize your playstyle. I love discovering all the hidden areas and uncovering the secrets of Hollow Nest. It's a world that's just begging to be explored. Some of the boss fights were seriously tough. I spent ages trying to beat some of them, but that feeling when you finally take one down is incredible. Honestly, I don't really have any complaints. The game is just so well made and polished. Maybe if I had to nitpick, I'd say some areas can be a little confusing to navigate at first, but even that adds to the sense of exploration. It's a game that I can see myself coming back to again and again. Little Nightmares 2 is this super creepy and atmospheric puzzle platformer where you play as Mono, a little boy with a paper bag on his head, and you team up with Six from the first game to escape this terrifying world. It's a really suspenseful game, and the atmosphere is just incredible. It's full of these unsettling visuals and sounds that really get under your skin. The puzzles are well designed and they make good use of the environment. I loved the way the story unfolds. It's very mysterious, and you're constantly trying to piece together what's going on. It's definitely a scary game. There are some genuinely creepy moments that made me jump. If I had to say anything negative, maybe it's that some parts can be a little frustrating if you get stuck on a puzzle. But overall, it's a fantastic game. If you enjoyed the first one, or if you're just a fan of horror games with a focus on atmosphere and story, then I highly recommend checking it out. Nine Sols is an action platformer set in a world inspired by Asian mythology, and right from the start, the hand-drawn visuals pulled me in with how beautiful and detailed everything looks. The combat is really fun with its mix of sword fighting and deflecting enemy attacks that feel super satisfying when timed right. Although some of the platforming sections can be pretty frustrating because they need really precise jumps. And while the story is interesting and adds a lot of depth to the game, it does feel a bit slow in some parts. But overall, if you're into challenging combat and a unique, beautiful world, this game is definitely worth checking out. Ori and the Will of the Wisps is this gorgeous Metroidvania game where you play as Ori, a little spirit who has to save his forest and his friends. It's a really beautiful game, the visuals are stunning, and the world is so full of life. The platforming is incredibly smooth and responsive. You feel so fluid as you're jumping and dashing around. I loved exploring the different areas. Each one is unique and has its own challenges. The combat is also really fun. There are lots of different abilities you can unlock and upgrade. It can be a bit challenging at times. Some of the boss fights are pretty tough, but it's never unfair. Honestly, it's hard to find anything I didn't like about this game. Maybe if I had to nitpick, I'd say the story is a little bit simple, but it's still very heartfelt. Overall, it's a fantastic game. It's a must-play for any fan of Metroidvanias or platformers. Pentiment is a really unique game where you play as an artist in 16th century Bavaria and you get to investigate a murder. It's not your typical murder mystery, though it's more about the characters and their lives, and the choices you make really impact the story and how it unfolds. I loved the art style. It looks like an illuminated manuscript, and it gives the game this really distinctive look. The writing is excellent too. The dialogue feels very natural, and the characters are all well developed. It's not a fast-paced action game. It's more about talking to people, exploring the town, and piecing together clues. Honestly, I don't really have any major complaints. It's a very well-crafted game. Maybe if I had to say something negative, it's that it's not for everyone. If you're looking for a lot of action, this might not be your cup of tea. But if you enjoy story-driven games with interesting characters and meaningful choices, then I highly recommend it. It's definitely a game that makes you think. Stardew Valley is a farming sim that starts with you inheriting a broken-down farm, and from there, it's all about turning it into something beautiful. You grow crops, raise animals, make friends, explore caves, and even build relationships with the townspeople. The best part is that there's no right way to play. Some people focus on farming, others on mining or fishing, and some just want to get married and start a family. The game is relaxing, but time moves fast, so planning your days can be a little tricky at first. The pixel art is beautiful, the soundtrack is cozy, and once you start playing, it's really hard to put down. If you're into classic arcade-style games, Streets of Rage 4 is an absolute must-play, and it's got everything. Tight controls, fast-paced combat, awesome hand-drawn art, and a soundtrack that keeps you pumped the whole time. Every level introduces new challenges, and the game rewards you for playing smart and stringing together big combos. Some of the later fights can feel a little unfair, and playing solo can get repetitive, but once you bring in a friend, the game is just pure chaos in the best way possible. Whether you're a longtime fan of the series or new to beat-em-ups, this is one of the best out there.
Onward and upward!
So I finally got around to playing Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and honestly, it was such a fun surprise. I mean, I knew it would be good, but it was even better than I expected. The way they've mixed up the classic Mario formula with these crazy new Wonder Flowers is brilliant. Some of the level transformations are just wild, and the new badges add a whole other layer of fun.
That Goomba looks so sweet. Well then.
You can turn into a Goomba or even have your character float around. It's just silly and addictive. The levels themselves are beautifully designed too. They're bright and colorful and full of secrets. Some are easy peasy, but others will really test your platforming skills, and the boss fights are pretty cool though. I did wish there were a few more unique ones, but overall this game is just pure, unadulterated fun. It's perfect for playing with friends or family, and it's one of those games that just makes you happy. So if you're looking for a game that's guaranteed to put a smile on your face, you should definitely give this one a try. Unravel 2 is a puzzle platformer where you and a friend control two tiny yarn creatures connected by a single thread, and together you have to solve puzzles and make your way through a beautiful, nature-filled world. The game feels really relaxing, but at the same time, some of the puzzles can be tricky, and there are even a few fast-paced sections that really test your teamwork. The controls are smooth, and the way both players have to work together to climb, swing, and jump makes everything feel super fun. The only downside is that the story is a bit vague, but honestly, the game is more about the journey than the story itself.